Hello, this is Charlie, and you're at My Messy Fingers. I have another album I'd like to present, but first I would like to thank Scrap and Create for having sent me this collection to play with. They send me a lot of papers, so if you haven't checked out their channel, their website, please go on over there and do so and share some love. They've got some great sales going on. This is the album I just finished. It is featuring Ciao Bella's winter season collection. The album measures 10 by 9 and there is a 1 7/8 inch spine. In the collection was this beautiful piece that had a window setting, so I trimmed off everything and that's what's my featured front. I wrapped the album in a dark brown cardstock, and then I separated the collection paper from the cardstock with white cardstock so that they would each stand out. On the front here, I've got some lace that I use. Treating this as a window, you're looking inside to the outside. This might be a lacy valance above the window with your curtain rod, but I'm treating this as a pearly rod. Down here, down below, when you bring out your winter collection items, you probably have a little setting here that's got the snowman and the evergreen boughs of poinsettias, some pine cones. Now what I did here was I used Wink Estella on a good portion of this, and then in the center of the flowers I used what's called prills. They're just little granules. I glued them in place. I let them set overnight so that they would set up nice. Used a couple of the brass items that came in with the collection. I used Wink Estella on the lights and the windows so that they would stand out. I wrapped this ribbon lace all the way around to the back. Here's one of the cutouts. Again, I used Wink Estella, some of the prills. Christmas tree, I again used prills on these bottom floral, and then use some Wink Estella as well. Here on the spine, it's just a simple embellishment. It's the boots out of the cut-aparts. So let's get inside and let's take a look. Now here on this first one, we have a pull-out. I only covered just enough to secure the tag. And this is one of the featured pieces within the collection, so I cut it to fit. And then this has got a tuck over here on this side, and I'm using some of my little lace. Here's some big lace that I've used. This is a nice big pocket. This is a cutout, and then this opens up for a photo. Over here on this side, we have a tuck. And then if you want, you can put a photo in here so that it comes down here if you want to leave that embellishment open like that. Okay, let's move on. I used one of the tags. I think these are like 4 by 5 3/4. I put some lace and again some pearls across the top. It's magnet closed. And in here I've got tucks here for the top and the bottom, and I use some cutouts and again some lace and some pearls. Open this up and I've got a repeat over here. We've got a tuck on the top and on the bottom, and there we go. You've got some large cards, so what I did is that I cut them out, I framed them in, I punched holes, and I used some jump rings. And I attached a couple of the brass elements. These are magnet close. And then we have big photo spots here and here, fixed photo spots. And then these both open up. They're magnet closed for some smaller photos. Here, this opens top to bottom. I've used a lot of Wink Estella on this, here and here, but then here I used a bronze stickles instead of the prills. And then I cut out one of the quoted sayings, and again, here's some more Wink of Stella up there. So let's open it up this way. When you open this up, we've got ourselves a nice belly band. I've accented it with some lace, and I did one of the fussy cuts off that fussy cut page. And then we're going to bring this down here. And then down here at the bottom, we have a big long pocket. We've got some lace, and we've got another one of those fussy cut items. Coming back up here to look in the center, we have two big pockets on both sides here. This is one of the, I'll show you, it's one of these cards that I've turned and trimmed to fit the front of the pockets. And then I've cut out a couple of the sayings that were within the collection. And here's again some of the stickles, lots of Wink of Stella. And then again, here's a pocket. And it's accented with some of my lace. And then you open this up, and we've got these two images. Within the Ciao Bella collection, they've got some papers that are about 8 3/4 inches long. They're not the full 12 inches because across the bottom they've got cards and or their alphabet. Well, that's what these are from, so that they can be used within the collection. I've created big photo places. I haven't accented this with anything. You just put your photos in here, and this is the same on this side as well. But in here, we've got I love this paper. We've got another big pocket with some lacy trim, and another cutout with some Wink of Stella to accent. And then this is a tuck, and I've got a little pearl right there. And on this one, again, I framed this so that this was the focal point, and we've got some Wink of Stella, and again, I used the prills here again. Open this up, and we've got a large tuck for those larger photos, and this is some of my small lace that I use. This is one of the fussy cut items. Over here on this accent page, again, we've got lots of Wink of Stella, and we've got the prills. Open this up, and we've got the same thing. We have ourselves a tuck top and bottom, accented with some lace, and again, another one of the ornaments fussy cut out. These two pieces here actually were on top of each other. They're again another one of those short sheets that you have in the Ciao Bella collection, and I cut them in half, and I created tags. Here's a tuck using one of the cutout embellishments, and then when you get on this side, here's another little tuck. Open this up, and we've got tucks here. You can put in a nice size photo and have it framed in behind the tuck. Down here, we've got another big pocket, and you have all this beautiful sweater material that you can put some nice photos if you want to and commit them. And we've got some lace, and again, some Wink of Stella and some prills to accent. On this signature, this was one 12 by 12 sheet, and I wanted this piece and I wanted this piece. But when I cut the 12 by 12, I was left with this framework here, and it just looked unfinished on the top. So I took the scraps and I cut out the top of the scraps. I followed the line, and then I did a diagonal on both of these so that I could finish it. So when this is closed, it's all framed in. Here's some Wink of Stella. I know you can't see this probably, but there's Wink of Stella here and here. I use Wink of Stella on this entire element right here. And then when you open this up, we've got some of my lace. I just love this combination. It's got a big pocket. We've got a fussy cut item. And then we have another one over here. These are left blank, again, for you to put some fixed photos. Open this up, and we've got some diagonal pockets in here, accented with some lace. And I tucked that under, there we go. And we've got some fussy cut elements that I've taken, and then I've used Wink of Stella to accent, and again, there's pockets on both sides. Here in the center, this is one of the larger cards that was actually cut off of a 12 by 12 sheet. And I've come in and accented with some Wink of Stella. I framed it in. I've got a belly band up here. This is one of the fussy cut items. And then I've got some small pearls there. Down here, lots of Wink Stella. I just had fun using it throughout this paper collection. In here, we've got a couple of tucks here on both sides, and then another big pocket. This piece, I love using my scraps because when you're cutting into the paper, you're going, oh gosh, I just cut into that. Now what am I going to do with it? Well, I use them a lot for pockets, depending upon what position it is. This was actually turned this way on the top of a 12 by 12, but it worked out beautifully coming this way because it's still a window setting. I'm just treating it differently. And again, here's some of my lace. And then on the last signature, we've got a tag closure. And this is just one big, beautiful scene. I love it. So when we get to the inside of this, these are double waterfalls on this page. These are fussy cut items. And then I cut out the quoted sayings. And then I took 1/2-inch strips, covered the ends on all of these, and then on the inside seam, I did cover that as well. These are cards that I've put on here, and I backed it with some of the sweater material. Here, when you move over a little bit, we've got a nice tag that I've used. I've got some Wink of Stella and then a prill, and that's a nice tuck. This piece here is the left side of this. So this piece was actually over here on the left, but I cut it to fit and I'm using it here on this right side panel. And then when you open it up here on this side, we've got a nice little pocket. This again came out of my scraps. I love this little assembly here with the phrase down here, and then some of my lace. Then when you open this up, I've got Wink of Stella and some prills down here, and then we have a double waterfall. These are some of those cards that I've used. Here's the final, this was the last of my lace, and I accented it with some of the pearls. I came down here and did the same on this really large pocket. This was the last of the brass items that I had, and I'm just treating it as a Christmas dangle that you might attach to the top of your windowsill. So this is my collection featuring Ciao Bella's winter season. I want to thank Scrap and Create for having sent me this collection. It is just lovely. The images on this are outstanding. They did a great job on this. If you have not subscribed, I would appreciate if you would do so. The materials that, with the exception of these items up here, the materials that you'll need to make this will be listed down below in the description field. So I hope to see you on the next build. Until then, bye-bye.